Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to be breaking down the mechanics, the history, and the future of Lionel Messi's absolutely legendary career. Now, if you've ever watched him play, you know there's this certain, magic to it, right? But what if it isn't just magic? What if we're actually looking at a highly quantifiable sequence of biomechanical perfection? Well, today we're going to deconstruct the blueprint of a legend, and we're relying strictly on the data, the history, and the science behind the man. Let's get into it.
Here is our roadmap for this one. We'll start with the science of Messi, then look at his 5 greatest goals, move on to his unmatched award dominance, talk about his impact beyond the pitch, and finish up with his 2026 World Cup projections.
All right, Section 1, the science of Messi, the biomechanics of a genius. Let's jump right under the microscope here with a really fascinating scientific analysis published in Frontiers in Psychology. They objectively evaluated 103 of Messi's goals over a decade across La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League.
To truly understand Messi, you really have to understand this concept called laterality. Scientists actually attribute a massive part of his success to mastering this exact thing. And laterality isn't just, which foot you prefer to kick with. It's about how an athlete orients their entire body in space. It's that unique ability to combine the absolute precision of a dominant limb with the incredible stability offered by the non-dominant limb.
As you'll see, his distinct limb rolls function together perfectly, literally milliseconds before a goal. Think of his dominant left leg as a scalpel. It's used for that precise ball control, the delicate touches, and those clinical curling finishing strikes. But meanwhile, his unsung hero is really his non-dominant right leg, which acts as this hyper-stable anchor. It minimizes movement variability and it supports these rapid pivots, which allows him to change direction instantly without losing an ounce of momentum. It is exactly this trait that consistently leaves defenders just stumbling in his wake.
And to actually measure this, researchers didn't just guess. They used the OSMOSS, Soccer Player Observation Instrument. Yeah, scientists literally used a highly specific tracking tool just to figure out what his feet are doing. They tracked the exact body part, the foot contact zone, so whether it was the tip, the outside, or the inside, the turn direction, and the body orientation. By breaking down his movements into these granular categories, researchers proved that his goal scoring is a highly repeatable sequence of specific motor skills. Basically, he uses his right leg for a stable base, turns, and executes with the left. Boom.
Moving on to Section 2. 5 greatest goals. Let's take all that biomechanical science and move to the pitch to see how it creates these moments of pure magic.
This timeline maps out his greatest goals chronologically. We start with his teenage breakout against Getafe in 2007, then we move through his Champions League dominance against Manchester United and Real Madrid in 2011, touch on that insane viral moment against Bayern Munich in 2015, and end with a high-stakes, must-win savior moment for Argentina against Mexico in the 2022 World Cup. So, the crucial point here is how that 2007 Copa del Rey goal against Getafe perfectly demonstrated the laterality we were just talking about. Picture this. He receives the ball on the halfway line. He evades 2 midfielders with a quick turn, using that rock-solid, stable right leg, remember? He accelerates with the ball just glued to his left foot, cuts inside 2 central defenders, feints, rounds the keeper, and scores. This was a 60-meter run that bypassed 5 opponents. It was so undeniably spectacular that people immediately started comparing it to Diego Maradona's legendary goal of the century. Now, this mastery of balance also has a massive cultural impact. Take the 2015 Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich. Messi drives forward, feints to go left, and then violently cuts right. That sudden physics-defying directional change caused world-class defender Jerome Boateng to literally collapse backward onto the pitch before Messi smoothly chipped the ball over Manuel Neuer. It remains one of the most replayed, jaw-dropping clips in football media today, mainly because it just perfectly encapsulates his ability to navigate tight spaces through pure balance. Section 3. Unmatched award dominance, a legacy of trophies. Zooming out even further, that precise on-pitch execution has obviously led to a staggering level of individual accolades.
8. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the record-breaking number of times Lionel Messi has won the prestigious Ballon d'Or. No player in the history of the sport has won more. This incredible run stretches from his first win all the way back in 2009, following a Champions League final goal against Manchester United, all the way to his 8th win in 2023, following his World Cup triumph in Qatar.
And look at this sheer gap between him and his peers during his absolute peak. In 2011, he captured almost 48%, 47.80% to be exact, of the total vote share. In 2012, which by the way is the year he scored a mind-boggling 91 goals in a single calendar year, he took 41.6%. Even when finishing second to Cristiano Ronaldo in 2013, he still racked up over 1,200 points. It really highlights a perpetual on-field brilliance that left voters virtually no choice but to just hand him the accolade year after year.
Section 4. Beyond the pitch and his global impact. Because a legend isn't just defined by trophies, right? Let's shift our focus completely off the field for a minute to see his macro influence as a global humanitarian.
Since 2010, Messi has served as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, and he actually traveled to Haiti immediately to raise awareness after the devastating earthquake there. But he also took matters into his own hands by founding the Leo Messi Foundation. This foundation invests heavily in healthcare services for vulnerable children all over the globe. This includes providing massive support and crucial fundraising efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Every child has the right to grow up healthy. That is the core belief that drives his philanthropic mission. And what makes this so poignant is that it's a commitment stemming directly from his own past. You know, as a boy in Rosario, Argentina, Messi faced significant medical difficulties himself, specifically a growth hormone deficiency. So his journey from a kid needing medical intervention to an elite world champion forms the emotional backbone of his dedication to global childhood health.
Section 5. 2026 World Cup Projections. Is this the final chapter? Finally, let's zoom right into the present day and examine the forward-looking prediction markets for the current World Cup, where Messi is somehow continuing to defy age.
6 goals. It is absolutely astonishing. But he has just set a spectacular World Cup record by scoring 6 goals in the group stage alone in the 2026 tournament. That includes 3 against Kansas City and 2 against Austria. He's the first player to achieve 6 group stage goals since 1994. But more importantly, this recent burst has bumped his all-time tournament goal record up to 18, setting a brand new historical milestone. And the financial and prediction markets are heavily reacting to this milestone. Based on live tracking data, these markets are currently giving Messi a massive 45% probability of securing the 2026 Golden Boot as the tournament's top scorer. On top of that, the markets show a 50% probability surrounding Argentina's stage of elimination, which really indicates that his individual performance is profoundly enhancing the perceived likelihood of his team advancing deep into the knockout stages once again. So, as we watch him continue to rewrite history on the world's biggest stage in 2026, it leaves us pondering a massive question. Is his greatness ultimately a product of that highly measurable biomechanical perfection? You know, the laterality, the right leg anchoring, those precise left foot strikes? Or is there an unteachable instinct, just a pure footballing magic that transcends the data entirely? As you watch his next match, keep a close eye on his footwork, remember the science we talked about today, and decide for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning and stay curious.